Emily, board members, members of the Charles River Watershed Association, this is really humbling. I must say, though, as a slightly older guy, and this is apparently where these Lifetime Achievement Awards go, right, to the slightly older people, I want to put you all on notice. I intend to come back and get another Lifetime Achievement Award. I am not done. I also want to say I am really impressed with the democratic system here that's alive and well in this association. You did a fantastic job. As someone that bit his teeth on Billy Bulger's Senate, we weren't quite always that dramatic. In fact, I sat in a seat and there was one guy on one side, another guy on the other, and they said, well, why, do you know why we're here? I said, because you're sitting on my right and my left? No. Because you have to rise up to be recognized, to make remarks here. And the Senate President has put us here, so when he doesn't want you to rise up and doesn't want you to make remarks, our job is to hold you in your seat. And that, in fact, happened on many occasions. So, you know, this is a tremendous honor. Just looking around this room, what a great turnout, and what an important mission you all have. I'm being honored for some achievements here, but they weren't just my achievements. If I was at the Academy Awards and I started thanking all of the millions of people that were responsible for these achievements that I'm being credited with tonight, we'd be here, you know, forever. You don't do this individually. You do this as a village. And we live in a very unfortunate time now. We live in a time where blue doesn't talk to red, red doesn't talk to blue, nobody talks to purple. I've had people walk away from my Thanksgiving Day dinner, friends and family, and never talk to each other again. The achievements that I'm being credited with tonight would never have occurred today under these circumstances. The president I worked for to help create EPA was a guy named Richard Nixon. He was responsible for the creation of EPA. Now, I must say, I was offered a president, they recruited me from college, I was offered a presidential appointment, and I turned down the job. They offered me another way. I took a civil service exam, passed, they got me into HEW, and they seconded me over the White House as a civil servant, and that was the only way I was going to work for the Nixon administration. But it was Richard Nixon that did this. I was in on a meeting with John Mitchell, where the fate of EPA was at stake. The Secretary of Commerce wanted to take over most of the mission of EPA, and so industry would comply with environmental requirements, but on a voluntary basis. So what happened when you have Bill Ruckelshaus, who was head of EPA, and you have Maurice Stans, the head of Commerce? Where does that decision go to be made? It goes up to the White House, because they're both secretarial positions, right? And you know who weighed in and made the decision that EPA would be as strong as it is today? A guy named John Mitchell. Because he weighed in with Bill Ruckelshaus. He didn't do it because he was a great green guy. He did it because he had a personal relationship with Bill Ruckelshaus, knew him to be a guy of integrity, knew him to be mission-oriented, knew he would get the job done. Bill Ruckelshaus had more integrity in his little finger than most of that administration. And he did get the job done. And he came back again to do it again when another administration had screwed things up. But my point is this. When I filed the lawsuit to clean up Boston Harbor, I was city solicitor in Quincy. I was appointed by an election that occurred in 1982. That was the same year that my very close friend Mike Dukakis just got reelected governor. I was running a tenth of the state for his field system, and I broke off from that, or did it at the same time, to get a guy named Francis X. McCauley elected mayor. When I had first moved to Quincy in 1978, there was an election, and there was a court of inquiry where the court decided that the person that won the election had to be thrown out, and the second candidate for mayor was put in because the police had stolen the ballot boxes and stuffed them. So that was what we were. But why did I support this guy? He was a Republican. Everybody in the Dukakis administration said, wait, we're trying to get votes in Quincy from these Democrats, and you're going to, I ended up co-managing a Republican's campaign for mayor. Of course, it wasn't a partisan campaign, but he was a Republican. But I supported him even though I had fought him and had these public vitriolic exchanges over a development project that he was championing near Squantum, where I lived. I was the president of the community association. We battled, we swore at each other publicly. And he came to me and just said, I'm running for mayor. I'm doing it just as a courtesy because you're president of the Squantum Community Association. And I said, well, that doesn't surprise me, but what I'm going to say will surprise you. I'm going to support you in every way I can because you're the most honest person in government today. And it didn't matter you're a Republican or Democrat. I'll cross the aisle for you. Boston Harbor would never have been cleaned up unless I had that opportunity. Just like EPA, I never had an opportunity to work for EPA. So what I'm going to tell you right now, what I'm going to share with you, is that we've all got to cross over. We've got to talk to people that we have profound political differences with. So distasteful that we can hardly bear their company at times. But we've got to recognize in them and find in them a humanity, a commonness that brings us together. Because right now we have crises bigger than any time in human civilization. The climate crisis is no joke. Right now, I'm trying to save the New York City metropolitan area and the Boston metropolitan area from imminent existential threat of flooding. And inundation that will destroy this city and destroy other urban areas. We can't do it just because we're the good guys. We can't do it just because we identify with one party or the other. Just like I couldn't have achieved anything to date, we're not going to go forward unless we learn to work together. And it's going to be the most difficult thing we do. Looking around this room, I think if I polled everybody in this room, I could stand in the mirror and you'd be on the other side of it. We're very much the same, ideologically, politically. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, but we are pretty much the same in terms of what we want for a clean environment, what we want for our kids. But that will never happen under the present circumstances. It just will not. So we need to come together. We need to realize none of us does this alone. It does take a village, and together we can achieve amazing things. Now, tomorrow morning, I have a meeting where we're going to review the DEP regulations that just were promulgated. This is anyone that wants to attend is welcome. You can come as my guest free of charge. It's at Rose Wharf, 8:30 in the morning till 12:30. And we're going to talk about public policy and how you need everybody, give everybody a seat at the table. How you have to look at science, have to look at economics, how you have to go and consider societal values before we make public policy that we're going to impose on the people of the Commonwealth and beyond. So I am eternally grateful for this. Thank you. I'm reserving that chair when I come back for my second lecture, because I'm not stopping, and none of you should stop. You, some slightly older people out there, don't let the old person in. You're going to be in the audience when I come back. Thank you very much.